This podcast is brought to you by The Nkgau Show, a podcast where we interview the most self-made visionaries who have the ability to positively impact the lives of people.
Hello, family, and welcome to the Nkgau Show podcast with myself, Johannes Baloi. Please join me as I sit down with guests to have meaningful conversation where we share ideas, opinions, and experiences that are about helping you to improve your life. Today on the show, I am joined by my favorite guest, Tony Nkgau, the director of Nkgau Cleaners. Tony grew up in Moshate village just outside of Mokopane town in Limpopo province. And just like other teenagers, Tony wanted to live and enjoy life, but having a child changed his entire life and his thinking. Tony had to forget about his thought of living and enjoying life like other teenagers, as he had to step up and take care of his child. And that's how Nkgau Cleaners was born. First, he started by washing sneakers. Later on, he grew into a business which is now Nkgau Cleaners. Having big dreams and a vision in life, Tony is now pushing boundaries to grow and move Nkgau Cleaners to its highest mission and vision. Tony, welcome to the show. It's an honor to have you.
Thank you so much, and it's great to be on the show. I'm really excited.
So, Tony, when I read your biography, doing a research about you, I started to realize that you had so much thoughts about enjoying life, like more like other teenagers. But after you had a child, it changed everything. So how was your experience after your child was born? Having to think that you won't really enjoy life as you expected after matric.
I won't put it on the basis of really saying won't be enjoying life, because the things that we do when we are at the teenage age, we do not really count too much into what will be happening tomorrow. But it's a good question. I'll be honest with you. I remember I was only 18 years old, so you can just imagine what an 18-year-old father will be like.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yes, but then relocating was the best thing, because at that time it was just after my matric and I had to go and study. So you would come across situations whereby your peers, people at your age, they now going wild parties, other things that people at your age would normally do.
Yeah.
Yes, but then I just had that feeling within me that won't let me go all out and forget the responsibilities that I had to carry. I know at that age much wasn't expected of me, because I was still a child of both my parents in terms of support and my well-being. But knowing that you gave another person now a responsibility, the mother to the baby was a much determining factor in my life. In fact, I would say it was a turnaround moment in my life.
Wow.
It's where I started to look at things in a different angle. I'm like, okay, this is what's gonna happen. And the trend where we are is that you find out that a person has impregnated a woman, and then just after or before the baby can be born, the people are no longer together now. So it's one of the challenges that we are facing currently in South Africa, whereby young women are raising children on their own, and it really becomes a challenge now, because where is that structure within, where is that developmental mentor father figure? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I have a question here.
Yes.
I hear you mentioning something that is important, something that is a pain point of many teenagers here in South Africa. So you mentioned that it happens in most of the situation. It happens that it's a guy, he impregnate a lady, and now after the lady is pregnant, now they start to run away from the girl. Now they are no longer in a relationship with the girl. So for you, how was the situation?
For me, we were young, if you can remember.
Yeah.
We had to sit down. We spoke about it. We were both young and we wanted to fulfill our dreams. And we didn't know what the future held for us then, as in terms of will we still be together? Is being together what we really wanted? And we were like, no, we are young, yes, but we won't do these things that we call abortions. Then we decided that we keep the baby.
Yeah.
And since while we were young, the baby will now be that of our parents. Yes. And then we opted against aborting the child, and then we decided to keep the child because the love and the support was there already. Yes. When you meet someone in your life and you see a future with them, it's rare that you can do some things that will lead to a breakup or a fight altogether.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, what it seems like after you had a child, you had to start changing your thinking in terms of how are you now going to build a relationship with the mother of a child. So, for you as a guy, what influenced your thinking in terms of now I have to build a relationship? Because I hear you saying that you had to sit down with your partner and talk about the coming of your child, what is going to happen right now since the child is going to come. So, what influenced your thinking?
Okay, I can say that what influenced my thinking was okay, fine. Thing is, we were young. There, I wouldn't say I knew I met the one.
Yeah.
Yes, but the way in which she was so humble, understanding. Yeah, you would see that for me to do something that is bad towards her. Will lead to me having to live with regrets. Because if I were to tell you something, there's things that we do in life, and then they come back and haunt us, and we are usually haunted by the decisions that we take wrongly. Then people describe it as karma. It strikes you when you least expect it. So those are the things that I had to sit down. And if I were to be honest with you, I didn't discuss it with anyone older than me or someone closer that I knew for advice. Because usually people will tell you what you want to hear. People will tell you what you love. People will always find a way to shift you from your thinking.
So after the child was born, how did you manage the peer pressure?
Peer pressure was always there. The pressure to look nice like other boys your age, to have certain gadgets, certain good-looking things now. Because remember now, I've relocated. I'm no longer in the rurals now. You are in a city, and then you meet people from different backgrounds. But I had to sit down with myself, and I knew where I came from.
Okay.
I personally knew my background and what I had left back home. So that's where everything started now. Reality kicked in, and then I had to channel my thinking now to that of a father than that of a teenager.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. So after your child was born, you had to now come up with an idea of having to prepare for the coming of your child, and that's where you thought about starting a small business of washing sneakers. What was going on in that and during that period of time, and how did you manage to pull up that business, to pull it off the ground and operate it? You know what, like now I'm just going to start washing sneakers just for the preparation of the coming of my child, and doing it for yourself as well. How was the experience in starting the business?
The starting of the business, I wouldn't say was entirely based on the arrival of the child.
Okay.
Yes. Besides studying, I'm a graduate in marketing and business. So when you get introduced to certain modules, you start to fall in love with certain aspects of business. Yes. So I was a person who was listening too much to Steve Harvey and Alibaba.
Yeah.
Yeah, so usually at night when I'm about to sleep, I'll listen to their videos, listen to what they had to experience, how they came about. So I started falling in love with the idea of hustling. So when I started the sneaker company, I didn't have anything to say, okay, I'll use this to start. But I remember on the first attempt, I had 7 sneakers to wash, and it was on a Saturday. Yes, so all I could do was just wash the equipment and then the material that was needed. And then, I was like, okay, I'll start this business now. And then immediately it started working for me. I then realized that, okay, I have a little income, and then I am my father and mother's child, but I'm also a father to someone. So it's like it was a vice versa. My parents are taking care of me,
and you had to take off your child.
Yeah, and I have to take care of my child now.
Yeah.
You see, and then there was some confusions there and there when I started hustling, because I would come home with new things for myself, for the baby, and then my mother would be confused as to where does the money come from? Are you selling drugs? Because there was once this trend of these Nigerians recruiting students to sell drugs to students, and then they pay the students, you see.
Yeah. So your mother was worried because she heard of that trend.
Yes. But then little did she know that I was a visionary. I didn't exactly know how it will go about or where it will lead me to, but for that time I was just doing it so that I can just make meat at the end of the day. Yes.
So tell me here, most of teenagers, there are some things that we are ashamed of doing, like starting a little business, like washing sneakers. So were you not ashamed of doing that, particularly at your age?
I was never ashamed. If I were to be honest with you, I was never ashamed. You know why, ne?
Yeah.
There's a saying in business, they say start small.
I love that.
Yes, and then when they say you start small, they now refer you to a seed. What happens to a seed is, before a seed can germinate into anything productive, be it a fruit, be it a flower, it starts going through a process of being put underground.
Yeah.
And then when you start to nourish the seed now, the soil becomes mud, it becomes dead. Before you can see all these flowers blossom, all this colored, it starts from the ground. So I knew that it's impossible for me to just look all good at the go. No, I understood very well that doing what I had to do then was part of the process.
I love what you're saying, that before a seed can transform into a tree fruit or into a flower, it has to first go under the ground.
Yes.
So starting small, it's like you have to now start now by nurturing yourself, nurturing your skill, nurturing your ability before it can blossom. Before you can blossom,
trusting in the process. A flower goes through seasons. There's winter, there's summer, there's autumn, there's spring. Every season has a character. During winter, you see them trees wrinkle and dried up. But then come summer now, there's a lot of rain. You see them blossom. You see whoever has sowed the seed, you see them reaping what they sow. It's a process.
Yeah.
And once you fail to understand the process, it's where now you start failing yourself, because you are now looking outside what you are doing. You are looking at someone now, of which it usually makes you to lose a step and lose focus on what you are doing then.
I love that. So Tony, it looks like back in 2019 you had to go through a challenge whereby you were stabbed in the abdomen and you almost died in that scene.
No, that was one of a turnaround moments in my life. I remember it was 2019 on a Thursday before Good Friday. I had an arrangement with a certain client, and then at the same time I had the idea of going home now for the Easter holidays.
Yeah.
Yes. So it happened that where I was staying, there was a break-in because everyone had left for home now already. I was the only one remaining, as I was undecided whether to go home or attend the client, because the client and myself had nothing confirmed then.
So it was during the period of Easter holidays.
Yes, just before Good Friday. It was a Thursday before the Friday of Good Friday.
Okay.
Yes, it was either I go to the client or go home, but unfortunately it turned out that I ended up in the hospital because when I came in, there were 3 armed guys already at the apartment where I was staying, and then I encountered the accident. So it's great, man, that I'm still alive, because I remember after the stab, I spent about 7 days with internal bleeding, but I wasn't aware. The people that were able to detect that I'm suffering from internal bleeding were the medical staff from Nkgau hospital now, because I was discharged from the provincial hospital to go home. Then I was told that I had to remove my stitches after 7 days. And immediately when they removed the stitches now, it was as if the wound was never treated. Blood came out, then I had to be taken back to the provincial hospital now, of which it was a very bad experience. It was a very bad experience. I remember one doctor telling me that I'm alive, it was a miracle.
It was a grace of God.
Yes.
So having to hear from doctors, starting to kind of like lose hope to the point that you can recover or you will recover. So what was going on in your mind by then?
I was very much afraid, especially during the second operation, because I didn't know how I'll be like after the operation, how the operation will affect my physical well-being. Because remember now, I had already fallen in love with the kind of job that I'm doing, and then my job needed physical attention. So when something happens to your physical being, you start now to get worried. Will I be able to pull through? Okay,
I can imagine.
Yes. Suppose I come out alive, will I be able to carry on with the functions that I've been doing before? So that was my worry. But then that stabbing turned my life around, because from then I was able to cherish every single day that came, and then I was still counted amongst the living. And then I knew that I had to make the most of the time that I get to spend alive.
Wow, that's amazing that you have recovered from all of that. There's one question in particular regarding cleanliness. Yesterday I posted about you on my WhatsApp status, and one of the audiences of the Unpack show asked me, Johannes, can you ask Tony this question, because he seemed to be a smart guy. He seemed to be someone I can learn from, and he gave me the question that I should ask you. So the question is, At what level or point did you think of growing the business of washing sneakers to establishing a cleaning company, which is now Nkgau Cleaners?
Okay. I'll answer you and say it was not a matter of level, ne?
Yeah.
It was a matter of exposure. Because when I washed sneakers, I was now exposed to a lot of people in different places. There were people that would bring their sneakers to me from Benina Park, people from Edgewan Park, people from Flora Park, Madiba Park. So I was like, I now know a lot of people, and some of them will ask me, "You wash sneakers so good. Have you ever thought about washing this and that? Washing this and that?" You get me?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. And I started practicing on my own. I'll do spring cleanings at my home. I'll do a lot of things that I wasn't doing before, and through that I was able to learn and master the art of cleaning. And then in 2016 I was like, no, you know what I'm going to do? I'm now gonna register a company called Nkgau Cleaners. Yes, and then that's where Nkgau Cleaners came about. Yeah, and obviously when you register a business now, every time when you get to see your logo or your slogan, it pushes you to go to a level higher than the level you were before, isn't it? You start washing carpets for households, and then immediately you realize that no, I'm good at this. You now approach bigger entities like your private companies, government institutions, and then you learn in the process.
I really love something that you said here. You said you learned to master the art of cleaning. And for us, normal people like me, I would say, cleaning, I think of sweeping in a living room or wherever I'm cleaning. After that, put up a bucket and a mop, pour a soap, just mop the house, mop wherever the place is, and yeah, fine, it's clean. But when you speak of mastering the art of cleaning, what do you mean exactly?
I'm sure you've already seen my motto or my slogan that says, if it's not clean, it's not us.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah,
and you are very much confident about that.
I clean to perfection. I clean beyond expectations. Hygiene plays a very important role in our lives. Nowadays, for example, we are attacked by the virus corona. The pandemic has taught people to regularly wash their hands, sanitize, like those measures that prevents them from getting caught up with the disease. The same goes with cleaning. You don't just clean so that the next person can see that you've cleaned. No, you clean to create a healthier environment for yourself.
Yeah.
For example, I'm allergic to dirt. I'm allergic to dirt, and I don't want anything to do with dirt. I come home maybe for a weekend, and then I sit down 10 minutes or only. If I realize that where I am, the space is not welcoming to my sense of humor, I now start to change and get on with cleaning. Like TD Jakes usually says, before you make your day, you make your bed.
Wow, I love that. So most of your time you encourage people to be grateful in life. So what is it that you have learned about gratitude?
When you start talking about gratitude now, gratitude is one core factor that every human being should have, because gratitude is like when you give thanks for every little thing that you have. I get surprised when I meet a lot of people, and then people say, I'll get happy if I start making $1 million. I'll be happy if I can just have a car. I'll I'll be happy if I can just have so and so in my life. It doesn't work like that. Own your own happiness. It starts with you. You know, when you talk about gratitude, look, man, when maybe let's say you're making $100, ne?
Yeah.
And then you're now making $300, ne? If you apply the multiples of 10, ne, in your life, and then you learn how to do it over and over again until it multiplies to a point whereby you are now satisfied not with the outcome, but then you are now satisfied with the process. That's where it starts. So you give thanks. You give thanks to God, because gratitude comes in many ways. Sometimes we are grateful for the things that we own in terms of material things, monetary things, but then it goes beyond that. Gratitude starts with being grateful for things that you have that no one can see. For example, having a pure heart, it's something to be grateful for. It goes a long way. Ever encountered a situation whereby you gave a helping hand to someone, and then you just feel great about the feeling of being able to put a smile on another person without expecting anything in return?
That's
Sometimes
powerful,
you become grateful for the loving heart that you have. You are able to love people whom you don't even know, and then you also possess that thing in you whereby you have the spirit of resistance to being an enemy of someone you have not even had an argument with, because people will make you hate someone you don't know, or they will turn someone against you, and people will hate you for no reason. But then when you see yourself in a state whereby you are not reacting to such, that's something to be grateful for. I don't have hate. I hate no one, if I'm to be honest with you.
So if I may ask, what role does gratitude play in one's life if it's been put into practice?
Okay. Ever heard of a saying that says, when you are grateful, ne, you increase your capacity to receive in life. That's the role that it plays. The bigger the stuff you ask from God, ne, you have to be prepared now, because he will test you. He will put you through situations, ne, just to test your ability. And the more you are resilient, the more you are receptive to the goodness that comes from God, that's where your capacity to receive now expands. The more you become grateful in your life for the little things that you have. For example, when we had nothing, all we prayed for was to eat, isn't it?
Yeah.
But now that you are eating, can you now complain about what's on the plate?
No, you can't,
No,
because that's what you've been praying for.
All that you prayed for was, okay, if I can just have this. And then when that happens, all you have to say is that I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for that. That in itself, it increases your capacity to receive, and you start now receiving many things.
So the role that gratitude plays in one's life when it's been put into practice is that gratitude allows you and it increases your capacity to receive.
100%.
That's powerful, man. Increasing your capacity to receive. I love that. And there's something I've noticed about you. In your life, you are surrounded by amazing people who are doing great things in life. So what helped you to choose and keep the company of great people in your life?
It goes without saying, once you know where you want to go, or what you want to achieve, you now start associating yourself with a circle that will push you to give the very best that you have, and turn that best in you upside down, so that you now realize just how good you are. Because if you associate yourself with people who have negative thoughts, people who aren't doing anything about their lives, you automatically turn one of them.
Wow.
But
So it's like this old saying that says, birds of the same feathers flock together.
If you run around with losers, you're automatically a loser.
And when you walk away around with positive people, you automatically becomes a positive person in your life.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
There's another thing that I have learned. When you are in the rurals, when you are home where success is rare, whereby in every 3 years maybe you see one person being successful and the rate of success is slow. When someone does beautiful things, it becomes a question within the community. Where is the money taking? Where is the money coming from? What is this person doing? They are not used to a winning mentality. Then stories will be generated. This and this is doing this and that. This and that. And then when you now switch locations and go to an environment whereby winning is a routine, it's an everyday thing. When someone does a great thing, people just say congratulations and it ends there.
Yeah.
No questions about it, because they are used to seeing people grow. That's the kind of environment, or those are the kind of people you should be hanging around with, or you should be channeling the level of expectations that you have about yourself to them, because you know that, okay, it's not a competition. Actually, it's a matter of growth. You look at your life and say, okay, in 2018 I was here. And then if the year ends and then there is nothing about growth to discuss in your life, then as a human being, I can say that you are really remaining behind. So the reason you say I'm associating myself with people who are doing good is because I wanna be around people who are doing good, because it pushes me in a way.
Wow.
Like you get to get out of your comfort zone, because a comfortable position, like it's like a chronic, it's a disease.
So I hear you talking about when you change an environment, it becomes something positive in your life. So for you are originally from Mokopane and you established your business in Polokwane, which is where you are at the moment. Why Polokwane?
Remember, Jesus was just regarded as the son of Mary in his hometown. So yeah, here's the thing: when you want to grow, when you want to grow, you have to move away from where you come from now. Go to a place whereby they don't know you. I think that's the best thing to test your capability, be it in business or any other thing. Because now it tests your human intellect, how you integrate with people you don't know, how you integrate with people you met 2 days or 2 weeks ago, like how you are able to channel them into buying your product or your service. It becomes challenging, but in another way it grows you. Because if I were to do house cleaners in my hometown, who would call house cleaners and say, come do the service? You know, they'll say, he's the son of Maria. How I'll just pay for my services on a certain date or later, or they'll just wanna say, no man, you cannot charge me for just this service. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. And
Yes.
so you talking about that, it reminds me of, my role model, the person I love, it's Vusi Tembekwayo. And in one of his talk, he once said that, don't give me business for pity, but give me business because I'm good at what I am doing. And from what you're saying, I get the sense that sometimes when you're doing business, you come across people who are giving you business because of they pity you, and sometimes those people, they kind of derail you, they kind of delay you in your journey. And when you change the environment, you come across different people with different perspective of life, and it becomes something that is great in your life and for the business. So, and one thing that I want to ask you is that it looks like you are planning to take Nkgau cleaners to greater heights. So how are you planning to play a role in building a better world through your business?
What I do is I keep record of everything I done before. For example, every 6 months I do a forecast of what I want to achieve as an entrepreneur and for my business. And remember, every little growth counts. I keep record. For example, I look at how business went in 2020, and then how it went in 2019, how it went in 2018, and then I keep record of places I've visited, businesses that I was able to interact with, and then how was the outcome. And for every outcome that is not satisfactory to the business, I now start to build on fixing where there's been a problem, or should I say, improving where I was lacking. And then if there's a point whereby I say, okay, here I've outdone myself, I challenge myself even more now to do 4 times the work that was done the previous year. So it goes without saying, if you're not visionary about anything, there is no point in saying that, okay, I want to take my business to a new level. No. Okay, you start doing services for personnel at a certain level now. And then after you are sure that, okay, I've stamped my authority, I feel I'm ready to challenge the big dogs now in the game. You start now preparing for that encounter, and it's really sometimes it's crushing, but you learn through the process. Because for example, I'm in the cleaning industry. There's companies obviously who were there before Nkgau cleaners. There's companies who are legendary, like they are forever in the game. So as you develop new ideas, new strategies, you are challenging, isn't it, that we have competitors in a business? That's why when you do a business, or in your business plan, there's a point whereby we say you talk about your weaknesses, you talk about your strong points as a business. You now look at what greater things does your competitor possess better than you. What do you have that is great that you possess better than your competitor? You now use that as an advantage. Wow. So I'm believing that I'm taking Nkgau cleaners to greater heights, because every day, every week, I come up with something new that I haven't seen before. I'll be honest with you. I don't go researching, and I don't go doing a copy and paste, like looking at a certain person and say, this person has done this and that, I'll do. For example, the person I look up into is not into any form of cleaning service. The person whom I'm looking up to is a comedian, but his work ethic, his intellect, it really fascinates me. Isn't it that they say, sorry?
Man, like you are into a business and you're looking up to someone who's not into a business cleaning, who's a comedian. How do you do that, man?
You know, I like the words from Steve Harvey when he says, faith without works is dead. you can be faithful and hopeful for bigger and better things. But when you are not doing anything about it now, how will it be able to grow? Isn't it that you have to give God something to work on through you? Have an idea, write it down. I like him because everything he says touches me. When you turn your Bible to the book of Habakkuk 2 verse 2, it talks about the vision board. You write down the things that you want, isn't it?
Yeah.
In the Bible it says, write the things that you want on a tablet, and then work on them. Even though they may take a long time, even though they may linger, they will come to pass. So I have my own vision board, and every day I'm not only praying about the vision board, but I am doing something about the vision board. So he's into comedy, I'm into cleaning, but we relate at a certain level. So that thing pushes me to challenge myself every day.
Wow. You know, Tony, throughout the entire conversation, I can say that if there's one thing that I have learned from this conversation, it's the power of gratitude. Wow. And seeing it from a man who's hustling and starting from scratch and doing everything on his own, it's very, very powerful, man. It's very powerful. So, Tony, for someone who's listening right now to this podcast, in closure, what advice do you have for them?
Okay. I would say to the person that whatever you have in your mind, whatever you have in your fantasy world, or whatever it is that you imagine about, it's God's way of showing you of the things that you can achieve. You just have to start working on yourself. Stop thinking about it and sitting on it, but rather think about it and work on it. Maybe you are good at plaiting people's hair, you're good in doing people's nails. Go for it. If you are good in frying chicken, go fry your chicken until everybody buys your chicken. And if you are good in speaking, nowadays people get paid for just coming to speak at a function. People are just being paid for just having a mic for 10-20 minutes. If you're good at speaking, even if no one is listening to you, just speak to the flowers if you have to. And then if you are pushing and you think no one is watching, maybe you have a Facebook page, you don't get likes. It's not about likes. The fact that you're posting and no one is reacting doesn't mean that they don't see what you are doing. It's about attracting the people that are in line with what you are doing. Continue doing what you are doing. Don't look back. Just focus. Don't lose track. And then that's the only way to go about it. That's what I can say.
Tony, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show, man. Thank you very much for the time that you've made. I know you are a very, very busy man. Thank you. And everybody, this has been Tony Nkgau, the director of Nkgau Cleaners himself. Tony, thank you very much. And stay blessed, my man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining the podcast. If you would like your comment to be recorded on the podcast, send it to our WhatsApp number 061 453 0960. 061 453 0960.